Reliable data has been said to be the backbone of effective governance, sound policymaking, and sustainable development. Today, we turn our attention to collaboration in the field of statistics between Nigeria and Liberia. Officials from the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, along with legislators, are currently in Abuja engaging with National Bureau of Statistics to strengthen partnerships, share expertise, and explore opportunities for capacity building. While joining us to shed more light on the importance of building Africa's statistical systems and the areas of interest for Liberia is the Director General of the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, Mr. Richard Fatuma Ngafwan. Thank you, DG, for joining us in the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Also joining us is Mr. Odu Orokpo, Director of the National Bureau of Statistics. You're welcome to the studio too, sir.
Thank you, and it's nice being here.
Great. Let's start with you, Mr. Richard. From a broader perspective, why do you think strong statistical systems are important for Nigeria's development today?
Well, you cannot separate development from data because every development must be linked to reliable data, which is important for policy making and for the transformation of the lives of the people, whether in the urban areas or whether in the rural places. So data is the main issue. Data is what we need to be able to plan adequately for policymakers to make adequate decisions.
All right, you're in Nigeria with your team for knowledge sharing at the National Bureau of Statistics. How do you think Nigeria and Liberia can work together to strengthen statistical systems, and what benefits can we expect from this collaboration?
Well, this collaboration is a great one, especially I must first thank the interaction of the CEO and Statistician General of Nigeria, Prince Yemi Adeniro. He has been very much a good partner from the continental level and at the regional level, especially among Anglophone countries. Liberia and Nigeria can partner in so many ways. We came to Nigeria to observe the Nigeria statistical system, to be able to understand its strengths and how best Liberia can benefit from that. We know from the frequency of the release of your results, especially quarterly GDP estimates, that Liberia can benefit from not just the data compilation, but what are the legal frameworks that were placed into force for the speedy collection of data from MDAs across Nigeria. And we know that Nigeria is a federal country and that data collection is decentralized. So we'll be looking at to what extent we too, though we are not a federal nation, but a Republican form of a country, but we can also benefit from how Nigeria decentralized data collection in Nigeria and inculcate it in Liberia across the various counties of our country.
Right, thank you very much. Let's come to you, Mr. Orokpo. How beneficial is this visit by the Liberian team to the MBS?
MBS is always interested in sharing ideas with other colleagues from other countries. The same way MBS also goes to other countries to also borrow a leaf from. So we are the team from Liberia. You're most welcome to the Bureau, and the Bureau is working in tandem with them and also with a proposed visit to our National Assembly to also seek the opinion of our legislators and how they carry out the oversight over the Bureau, as well as to see how the laws crafted for statistics are made in Nigeria. MBS over time has had kind of relationships with other African countries. Of recent, a few months ago, we had a team coming from Gambia to study on how we also carried out our labor force statistics and agri statistics. And on our own too, we have other collaboration with other African countries. We have the one we had with Kenya for time use survey. And we also conducted quite a number of study tours to other countries too, while we're trying to set up our own, the statistics law of 2007. the MBS, because of where we were at that point in trying to review an old act from 1957 to 2007, over 50 years, we also embarked on a journey like this as the Liberian team is doing to Nigeria. We embarked on a journey like this to South Africa and Uganda to also see how they were able to craft their own statistics laws and how the infrastructure was developed for them to be able to carry out statistics in a modern way. So Liberia, they are here for the same purpose that we had done previously ourselves, and they are most welcome. And just like we are welcome in other African countries, we are also welcoming them to Nigeria for the same purpose, and we are glad that they are here and they will get as much as they can to be able to effect the changes in their own legislation for the proper positioning of the statistics institution there in Liberia.
All right, let me come to you, Mr. Richard. Looking beyond Nigeria and Liberia, how can African countries collaborate more closely to harmonize and share data?
Yes, we have already begun the process of collaboration. At the regional level in West Africa, West African countries have a lot of coordination meetings. And my colleague just spoke about the team from Gambia coming to Nigeria, understanding how the Nigerian collected and conducted data relative to agricultural statistics. Liberia have already done her own agricultural census. We have done two post-war censuses. The last time the team from Sierra Leone came to Liberia for us to do knowledge sharing when it comes to understanding cross-border trade, data collection. And the team from Liberia also went to Sierra Leone. We have been in Ghana. And there have been a lot of interactions where colleagues from various African countries come together, share knowledge, and now we are beginning the process of sharing staff, expertise across the various countries, because we know that within Africa, we have a lot of trained manpower who can be able to contribute meaningfully to data collection, data analysis, data compilation at the continental level. So we have more to do, and we have the expertise in Africa. So let us leverage that for the development of statistics across the continent, and that is what we are doing. And I, as the chairman of the Statistical Commission for Africa, I'm here today as a testament to that collaboration. And we will continue to collaborate with all of our brothers and sisters across not just West Africa, but in the East, in the North, and in the South. Because this Africa is our continent, and this is where we must transform.
All right, thank you very much. Let's now come to Mr. Oroku. The August inflation figures came out yesterday, and it's dropped for the 5th consecutive time. Can you tell us the factors responsible for this drop?
Yeah, the basket that we have for measuring inflation is hugely made up of consumable things like food, energy also in the mix, and the major driver of inflation in Nigeria, which we all know, it's food inflation. So for us, if and when prices of foodstuffs are reducing, definitely to affect the inflation rate. And most of us, we can see that the rate of change in the prices of foodstuffs has been declining, in the sense that if you see for regular food items, the prices are becoming a little bit more constant or reducing for some, because we are now in the harvest season. And in most parts of the Middle Belt, go down all the way to the south, New Yam festivals are being held almost everywhere. And of course, Nigeria, where our food production is mostly done internally. And whatever affects the output in our farms affects the inflation rate in Nigeria. Energy costs is another thing also, and we have seen quite a stable rate in change of the prices of energy. And we can see from the past couple of weeks, you can see that there's been a reduction in prices in energy, with Dangote reducing its prices, which is a significant cost. So for us at the Bureau, we make all our efforts to make sure that we measure these changing in prices as best as we can and as accurately as possible, so that people can make informed decisions in the country for their businesses and their investment decisions.
All right, to you now, DG. Finally, what's your vision for Liberia's statistical system and more broadly for Africa's statistical system?
Looking at Liberia, we need to build the capacity of the national statistical system, which we have embarked upon. We have embarked upon a rigorous capacity building exercise. Just a few weeks ago, we had a first batch of graduates from the African Regional Institute of Geospatial Studies at the Obafemi Awolowo University. They have left from Nigeria to Liberia to contribute meaningfully. So the first thing is we build the capacity of our staff. Then the next thing is we will have to ensure that decentralization of statistics is done in such a way that it is not just deconcentration, but decentralization. And I saw my colleagues talking about the results from Consumer Price Index. We are endeavoring meaningfully to ensure that data collection related to prices will be not just an urban-based data collection, but it will go to the rural areas, because it is important for us to understand the drivers of inflation. And like Nigeria and Liberia, the key drivers of inflation happen to be food prices, and there are similarities across the continent. So beyond Liberia to other countries, what is most essential is, first and foremost, building the capacity, more government support to statistics. That would mean for the government herself to not just fund, but to ensure the adequate utilization of data for development planning. Because if the more we use data for development planning, the more we can be able to make informed decisions. And the more our decisions are informed by data, the more we can be sure that we will be able to make the right decision for the right people at the right time.
Okay, for you, Mr. Orukpo, what's your vision for Nigeria's statistical data and Africa in general?
Yeah, just as our colleague from the DG of Lisgis has just told us, data, everybody says, is the new oil. And for us to have proper planning in Nigeria, definitely we need better data. The government of Nigeria is keen on a lot of indicators, and we've been tasked at the MBS to monitor quite a number of them across the different sectors. And this data, well, recent, we did our rebasing of our GDP and rebasing of CPI, and all were in the bid to provide better and more accurate data for the government to make its decisions, not just the government, but also investors, because those are key determinators of investments in Nigeria, the inflation rate and our GDP. Across Africa, just like in Nigeria, just as like in Liberia, data is essential for planning. Poverty rates, how do you tackle poverty? Where are the incidences of poverty? For instance, the 2022 MPI that we did showed a lot of relationship between poverty and what affects people a lot in this country, nutrition, security, and otherwise. And the federal government of Nigeria is very keen on having all this data, because the 8-point agenda is anchored on improvements in various sectors, and those improvements can only be understood from the point of having adequate data. Everybody else on the continent also desires to have adequate data, and we learn from each other to adopt the best practices internationally so that we can have comparable numbers, so that on what basis are we doing ours is the same basis that some other countries are doing there, so that at the end of the day, we can have comparative numbers between the countries, and we can, with that, see how Africa can develop itself. And just as the DG has said previously, Africa has an enormous pool of talent in terms of specialists in the various sectors in statistics. And if we collaborate through the various fora that are available, definitely will make things better for all of us in Africa.
Great. Dr. Olokpo, Director, National Bureau of Statistics, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. And you too, Mr. Richard Fatoma Ngafwa, the Director General of the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services. It was great having you in the studios.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Nice being here.
Thank you.